What's up, guys? I feel like I haven't filled you in a while, but I have a fight on October 1st. That's next week in a day, so I'm trying to get some work in. And I wrote something important that I'm gonna talk to you about after this workout is done. It's a quick one, just some cardio, my lunch break. It's the old Witwicky motto, if you remember the Transformers movie. No sacrifice, no victory. What are you giving up? Let's see what we can do here. Easy. Welcome back. I feel like my cardio is doing really good because that felt really easy. And that equals 5 minutes, so that's 1 round in the UFC. And you'll still probably be more tired than that. But just wanted to do a quick philosophy and also tell you why I fight. So I can tell myself and also just give you some ideas about how my brain works. Well, I'm a really big fan of that motto, like I said. No sacrifice, no victory. It's almost cliche, but it's really perfect. You know, it applies for the moment that you're in, for whatever struggle you're enduring, but I think it's even better for like life feels. You know, it's easy to just live the easy way and just do what you gotta do and chill out. And that is fun and all. But it's hardly rewarding. And it will ultimately lead to unhealth. If that's a word. So, I guess I mean that for life too. If you just do what you gotta do, there's no sacrifice. So at the end of the day, there's no victory. It's what we be talking about, me and my homies, with this serotonin grind. Trying to discard dopamine. I mean, obviously you need all this stuff, but serotonin represents, I don't know, it's hard to say without like making it too biased, but dopamine is like quick reward pleasures, you know? Food, I don't know, anything else that's nasty that your body does that feels good. Serotonin, that's something that doesn't really get released from, I don't know, something like drugs or food. I mean, maybe it does, but in smaller amounts. But that serotonin grind is like, it's more like dedicating your time to something so you can actually feel the reward for it. You know, like obviously you have to trade off the pleasure of the moment when you start exercising. But then by the time you get to the end of your exercise, maybe you feel like shit, but that's because you did good things. So no matter how you feel, truly, your body will reward you. Serotonin. That's the grind. Dedication. Working on projects type shits. You gotta give if you want to get. That's where I'm getting at. Anyway, that's especially true for fighting and any kind of life shenanigans. But why do I fight? That's a great question. There's a lot of good reasons. Well, I can tell you why I started fighting. Because it's always been like something that's pretty cool in my eyes. And I was watching this anime, Kengan Ashura. It's like this Japanese underworld market, like they settle their disputes by having fighting tournaments type shit. And I was watching them in that show, I was like, holy shit, I can do that. Like most of these movements, except for the stuff that's obviously like anime fantasy, like I can actually do these things, you know? And these guys are so cool, the way they just give it all every time, you know? Fight to the death, pretty much. And then there's the primal aspect, like when you're in a dispute with somebody, that's what it ultimately comes down to, you know? You're not gonna argue as hard against the guy who's like 6'9" and 300 pounds. You're just gonna let him be right. That's kind of the thing, which I also learned from that show. Strength is the ultimate justification. And it's kind of silly, but I mean, you can't deny that truth. And, you know, people always turn to fighting as a way to settle their problems as well. So why not be a step ahead? On top of that, I find it to be pretty fun. You know, the game of fighting itself, it involves everything that has to do with living. Your heart, your body, your spirit, your mind. You know, your mind, like, you have to know the techniques. Your body has to be well practiced and conditioned, because fighting is very taxing, if you couldn't figure that out somehow. But on top of all of that, there's luck. And then, of course, the spirit. You know, your drive to win determines your success in such circumstances. That's why it's really beautiful. Is if you're lacking in one area, I mean, obviously you can work on it, but you can rely on what you do have, you know. And if you never give up, it's a lot harder to lose, you know. Even the greats of the greats, when you're in the heat of a battle, there are times when you give up, and that's when you fall down. All comes down to who means it the most, I guess. That's why I like fighting. Also, it's kind of a break away from the mundane reality that is most people's everyday life. You know, we just go and do our shits and it's boring. Or maybe you've been working long enough that you've found something you like to do for money. So congrats to you. But For me, working my regular old day job in retail, it's the best place for my mind to go, you know? Like, knowing that the second I'm free, I can work on being better at fighting. Not because I like or want to beat people up, but just because it's, like, directly correlated to your self-growth. And it's nice to be good at stuff, and, you know, fighting has to do a lot with your body, so when you get better at fighting, you get better at moving. And you can feel more comfortable in your skin and on your feet. And that's the kind of thing that parkour taught me first, but it's something I don't stop thinking about. You know, knowing that you can throw a head kick at any moment is a nice kind of back pocket for your brain. Also, it's helped me grow in a lot of ways, superficially. The YouTube channel, Street Beefs, all that's been really good to meet a new audience and a brand new type of person, honestly, in life. And for me to be a new type of person. You know, it's really not about pride, although it is about honor and glory at the same time. You know, for me, obviously I prefer to win, but I don't even mind if I got beat up. Because to me, when I'm there's nowhere else I want to be. If I'm getting beat the shit out of, it's like, you gotta flip the switch. And that's when the magic happens, is when you're in the real heat of it. That's when you find out what you're made of. Shit, let me just set this back on. You know, and the way I see it, obviously, I almost just closed this on you guys. You guys are sitting in the microwave. Now, I've never, like, seriously lost a fight and I've been completely defeated. So I can't say for sure I know what it's like, but, you know, the way I see it is that I could never lose if I really believed that I had a chance. But I guess that's what it really comes down to, is there's always the perfect combination of movements that would grant you the victory. And of course, you're fighting against something that's alive, so you can't really rely on that, but the path to victory is there. You just have to find the right sequences. So what can I say? Fighting is pretty magical. And as a result, I love to do it. You know, it's something that makes me nervous. It's something that gets me excited. It's something that gets me heated, hot and cold. Fighting personifies the life. And life is a personification in many circumstances. So I've met a lot of great people, and I've become so much better as a human, as an athlete, as an everything, because of fighting. And so I'll keep doing fighting, even though some days I feel like so defeated, like I want to give up. And then it strikes my mind that there will come a day when I would want to come back to it no matter what. And so it forces you to be on top of your shit and say, keep it together, because it's so much easier to keep doing what you're doing than to fall and then catch back up to yourself. So fighting is the best for your mind, your body, for everything. So long story long, that's why I love it. That's why I'll keep doing it. It keeps me motivated in life. And lastly, I guess in a life or death situation, that kind of training could come in handy. You know, some goon wants to touch my butt parts, you know, then I can just beat him up. Simple. If I have to defend something I love, at least I feel like I have a good advantage on my side. You know, I would never want to fight to the death with a stranger. I would never want to get into a fight with a stranger on unspoken terms. I don't think anybody really does. I would definitely not want to fight with a weapon, but I know that if it really came down to it, I have what it takes. And my fighting life has shown me that I can do it. And so there's nothing to fear. So, cheers to fighting, stay nourished, stay training, and I'll see you around, guys. I feel like it's been a long time, but a lot of good stuff has happened in my life lately, and I'll be sure to share that with you soon. Goodbye.